Hello, how you guys doing today? Welcome in. I'm gonna give it a few seconds for people to jump on the live. If you do, while you're coming in, drop where you're watching from in the comments. And how are you having a good day? Are you having a good week? How's the weather? While we wait, I want to talk about something real quick. A lot of people are using AI wrong. They're typing basic prompts and getting basic answers, and then saying AI doesn't work for them. And that's like buying a gym membership and only using the parking lot. Now, what I do and what I teach at Promptify is prompt engineering. That sounds complicated, but it literally just means knowing how to talk to AI so it gives you something that you can actually use. Um, uh, Today, I'm going to show you a topic, and by the end of this, you'll be able to do this yourself in about 5 minutes. Everything I show you since I Promptify, and the link is in my bio. Ready? So for today, the sentence to kind of summarize what we're going to talk about today is build a project decision trail people can trust. I don't know. Sorry. This starts with a messy. This starts with a messy project thread, and ends with 5 small records to make status visible. Small. It starts. This starts with a messy project thread and ends with 5 small records that make stat. That. Excuse me. This starts with a messy project thread and ends with 5 small records that make status visible. Excuse me on that. Now, without inventing, it makes it visible, the status visible, without AI inventing approvals, without AI inventing owners, or without AI inventing dates, unless you give it these things, right? I had to repeat that a few times. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to explain the steps as per usual. And also, all the prompts that I use today in the short forms are going to make up the system that I'm going to explain here. So I'm going to actually go through all the prompts that I posted today in the short forms and explain how that's a system when it's all put together, right? So all those prompts would help you do this exact thing. Or the objective of this video is to tell you how to build a project decision trail that people can trust. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off each. I'm going to give a vague explanation of what's going to take place in each prompt. Probably just going to be a sentence to explain that. Then I'm going to flip to the screen and then actually show the prompts and then read off what the prompt is, read the answer or the result that I got for the prompt, and explain how this all works into the system, as per usual. The first one I'll talk about is, or let me just say this real quick. So most project confusion is not a lack of updates, it's a lack of traceable decisions. It could literally be as simple as updates, to be honest. It depends on what it is. It doesn't have to be anything more complicated than you telling somebody when the start date of something is so that they can fulfill it because they have the skill to do this thing, and you're just telling them when to start and you've already paid them, or you've already discussed the payment as well. Like, is a pay up front, or is there a certain amount of pay up front and then a certain amount of pay through each stage, right? Are you working with a freelancer? Or, like, so it's as simple as you just telling them when the start date is and when to start, and then maybe you check in to see updates. So maybe they send you screenshots of what has gotten done, or you have access to that yourself and you see like that. So it could be that simple, but maybe it's not always that simple. So let's give a system to make it so that there's no reason why this can't be simple, right? A lot of this stuff is, so if you've been doing entrepreneurship for a while, a lot of this stuff is just common sense to you. But what happens is sometimes, and it depends on what it is, some people would like to have something document and trace and hand walk them through every single step, and that's completely fine. Like, whatever you need help with. And then if you actually do that, it just verifies that, you tied up any loose ends. There's nothing you're wondering about. Hopefully everybody documents everything they do, right, when it comes to making money or business and entrepreneurship. But this is a way of documenting it as well. So instead of jotting it down in notes, you have it here in this system and formula, right? So it's making it so that you're taking the guesswork out. Here's a structure that you can use, aka why I offer Promptify. I offer help with you creating your own structures or systems, or I just give them to you if you need them, and we can cookie cut them however you like. And then you don't have to think about this stuff anymore because you have a system that helps you and assists you, and then you fill out what you need to fill out, right? And then so it's less brain work spent on this stuff. So and again, also I'm gonna try and keep this under 20 minutes if possible. So that Instagram doesn't cut it off at 20 minutes and you get to see the full video there. And I kind of messed that up a little bit by segueing a little bit too much, but that's fine. So show the finish 5. Okay, excuse me. Most project confusion is not a lack of updates, it's a lack of traceable decisions. So the first prompt is first capture only confirmed decisions and their evidence. Second prompt will be next distinguish an actual blocker from a task someone simply has not finished. That could mean whatever it means. Is there whatever it's applicable to that sentence and what it means for what's going on. Like for example, you captured only the confirmed decisions and their evidence. So did you or somebody else or whoever has authority to make a decision do that? And where's the evidence of that? And then, excuse me, that's the wrong one. So the first one is only capture confirmed decisions and their evidence. Excuse me. The second one I said, so let me explain that real quick, is distinguish an actual blocker from a task someone simply has not finished. Is there some sort of obstacle? Does somebody have to sign off on something? Is there software needed? Is this something not working? Whatever they have to do, what is the exact reason that could not be taken care of? Or is there something blocking it? For the third prompt, so now we're moving on to the third one. I just explained the first and the second. Now we're going to move on to the third. Just want to clarify that in clarifying for myself, so I don't go read back that past line over again like I just did and confuse the video unless you caught on to what I did there. Oh, you made a mistake, Andrew. But then I tried to clean it up right after because I recognize I'm not making sense. So for the third prompt is now compare the original plan to the new update. Silence is not a change. Compare the original plan to a new update. So maybe you could have both the information listed side by side, or you can write out the exact differences, like what has changed and what is still the same. But we're going to have a prompt addresses. And then, but I'm just explaining it out because you're only seeing my face, like I say. So when I say a sentence, I'm explaining out, and then you're going to see it on the screen and prompts afterwards. But while you're seeing my face, let me try and paint the picture before I turn to the screen and then showcase it. But let me paint the picture of each prompt. The fourth prompt is turn concerns into monitoring notes, not forecasts. So concerns, obviously they don't have to be forecast because you kind of self-explanatory. You can monitor something and prevent it from turning into something that you see something going in a certain direction. If nothing's going to stop it from heading in that direction, and you've seen how this has turned out before, yeah, you can actually predict that the forecast is that something's going to end up a certain way. But you can monitor it and guide it in the direction you would like so that you could have a forecast that you would prefer, or you could at least take it away from the forecast that you would not like. Or you could say, let's not talk about a forecast, let's talk about monitoring this thing and then just documenting the direction we have it going in, right? Taking control of it instead of just jumping the gun and talking about a forecast. Fifth prompt is finally make the handoff testable for the next person. Then we're gonna, so that's fifth, is self-explanatory, kind of like I was saying yesterday, and not that it's the same thing here, I'm not saying, but in general, like for example, let's say you have all this information, how can you easily have this translated in a manner that you could just hand it off to somebody else, and it, without them even having much context, they can understand what you meant by that. Like, and it could be in checklist format, like the example you used yesterday. Checklists are easy for people to read. They don't even have to know what something means. They could probably tell, oh, they could not even work for you or be into the type of work you're doing. But, oh, this looks like a checklist for somebody who does this type of work. They could just tell. But just make it easy to understand when you hand it off to them, right? Now we're going to verify source lines. We're going to verify ownership. And we're going to verify access. We're going to verify dates, and we're going to verify confidentiality. And that's just stuff that has to do with the whatever information I gave ChatGPT to use for this example. So now I'm going to flip to the screen and show you the prompts that I put in, and then the results that I got for that prompt, and then how this creates this exact system. The system being, let me read the exact title that I use. Kind of put it all together. This exact system being to address building a project decision that build a project decision trail people can trust. Ready? Going to flip the screen now. So let me go to the first prompt. I will go to the first prompt. All right, so for the first prompt today, what it says is, hold on, just give me a moment. Let me just check something real quick. Make sure it gave the information I would have liked it to. Okay, it did. So create a decision record from these project messages. Return this. So create a decision record from these project messages. It's going to return decision owner. It's going to return, it's going to return decision. It's going to return owner. It's going to return effective date if stated. It's going to return evidence. It's going to return resolved items. Use only explicit information and do not infer approval or assign an owner. And then the messages, I basically gave it some, I literally made something up to use for this example. It's kind of actually similar to what I've been using the past few days. So you got to see this example used again to break down the information in this manner, the way we're going to do today, right? So the first is the decision. So the first part of the decision is review 10 LinkedIn posts for repeat messaging gaps and develop 5 priority recommendations. The second part of the decision is deliver audit findings and recommendations in a PDF. The third part is discuss a PDF during 1 30-minute walkthrough call. The owner is, I did not state that. The effective date did not state that. Using fictional stuff, I could have maybe just thrown something random in there, but I would have to keep it consistent, obviously, in all these examples. The evidence is, the first part of the evidence is the project scope specifies a review of 10 LinkedIn posts. The second part of evidence is the documented work includes identifying repeat messaging gaps. The third part of evidence is the documented output includes 5 priority recommendations and a PDF. And the fourth part of evidence is the review format is 1 30-minute walkthrough call. And for unresolved items, the first part of unresolved items is who owns the project work. That's not resolved. The second part of unresolved items is effective date. We don't have that, obviously. And the third part of unsolved items is any additional project details not explicitly stated in the messages. So obviously what this answer did was It created a decision record from project messages that I gave it in the example. Been using the same example for the past few days. And it gave the decision. It gave an owner. Excuse me. It gave points for the decision. It gave points for the owners, which it didn't have any of that. It gave points for the effective dates, which we didn't have that information because I didn't fill that in. It gave points for the evidence, and it gave points for the unresolved items. And it used only explicit information, so I used what I gave from the example, and it did not infer approval or assign an owner. Didn't assign an owner unless I gave it one, which I didn't, so it left that blank. For the next prompt for today, in the system, where we're literally leaving a trail that people can follow. That makes sense. For a project decision. So second prompt is from these project notes, list each explicitly stated blocker. For each, we're going to show what is needed. We're going to show who is named. We're going to show stated timing. And we're going to show we're going to show the next question if no owner or date is stated. And do not label normal tasks as blockers. So, using the same fictional scenario, blocker, I didn't have a blocker stated. So the project notes describe the work and deliverables. They do not explicitly identify anything as per. All right, so that was my fault. I didn't add one, but so here's the thing: if it actually had one, it would have added that. That was my fault. I didn't insert that information in. I can do it right now, so I'm gonna just put this down, and then I'm gonna ask it to just give me. Let me just put some information in. Just give me a moment. All right, so I had to recall some information that I taught to it before this to add to this example. So here's the thing. So I'll read it again from the. No way I'm going to make 20 minutes today, but oh well. From these project notes, list each explicitly stated blocker. For each, show what is needed, who is named, stated timing, and the next question if no owner is stated. Do not label normal tasks as blockers. So let's say that the blocker is access to the 10 LinkedIn posts. What is needed? The 10 posts need to be provided for review. That's what's needed. Who is named? The client. The stated timing is before the audit begins. And the next question is, who will provide the 10 posts and when? The second blocker is walkthrough duration. Walkthrough duration needs confirmation. What is needed for that blocker is the notes contain both a 30-minute and 45-minute walkthrough reference. Who is named? I didn't actually have a name for that. And then the stated timing is not dated, didn't have a date for that. And then the next question is which walkthrough duration is confirmed. So that's just an example. Left one blank and filled one in, and then no other normal project tasks are labeled as blockers. So I just gave 2 examples. So I'm going to scroll back up. Excuse me. We're going to go to the third prompt. And what that did, obviously, real quick, what that did was from the project notes I gave it, it listed, lists each explicitly stated blocker. And for each, it showed what is needed, who is named, the stated timing, and the next question. And then if no owner or date was stated, it said do not label the normal tasks as blockers. So it basically just gave all the information. So it did exactly what it asked us based on the information I gave it. Would it do the same for you if you put in that information, right? I'm gonna scroll up now, going back to the third prompt. So for the third prompt, where is that? So the third prompt is compare the original plan with the latest update. Create 3 lists. There's going to be change. There's going to be still confirmed. And there's going to be and needs a decision. Quote the supporting line for every item. Do not assume change from silence. Then I pasted the original plan and I pasted an update, right? So basically using the same information. What changed was walkthrough duration change. The original said discuss the PDF during 130-minute walkthrough call. The latest was discuss the PDF during 145-minute walkthrough call. What's still confirmed, let me scroll down a little bit. So still confirmed is 10 LinkedIn posts remain in scope. The original is review 10 LinkedIn posts. The latest is the audit will cover the same 10 LinkedIn posts. 5 recommendations remain part of the deliverable. So the original had develop 5 priority recommendations. The latest had the PDF will include 5 priority recommendations. Now, what still needs a decision. So whether the longer walkthrough is a final format. So the original is 130-minute walkthrough call. The latest is 145-minute walkthrough call. And then the decision needed is confirm whether the walkthrough should be 30 or 45 minutes. Maybe that kind of depends on like how the conversation goes, right? Maybe something has to be expanded upon more. Maybe there's, so who knows? But it's just an example. But maybe you can define that and cut it to a certain time on purpose, right? So now what all this answer did was compare the original plan with the latest update. It created 3 lists. The lists were changed. There's a list called still confirmed. There's a list called needs a decision. And we quoted the supporting line for every item. We did not assume a change from silence. Excuse me. Nose. Excuse me. So the next prompt, fourth prompt, is turn this project concern into a concise risk monitoring note. We're going to include concern. We're going to include evidence in the notes. We're going to include the next check. We're going to include the stated owner, and we're going to include the unknowns. Also, do not predict likelihood. Do not predict impact. And do not predict a solution unless the note stated. And then the notes was pasted, or aka the information was given so that it can have an example to use. Scrolling too far down. Just give me a moment. I don't know what just happened to the screen. You make sure everything's okay. Just give me a moment. Okay, what just happened here? All right. Here we go. We're in this. So the prompt I just read is literally right here. Now we're gonna talk about the answer. So concern is the walkthrough duration may need confirmation. The evidence in the notes is the original plan is 130-minute walkthrough call. The latest update is 145-minute walkthrough call. The next check is confirm which walkthrough duration is current. The stated owner is no owner, explicitly stated. I didn't put that. And then the unknowns is whether the 45-minute duration is final and whether any other project scope has changed. So what did that answer? That answered this prompt, which is turn this project concern into a concise risk monitoring note. So everything in here is literally the concise risk monitoring note. And what was included in the risk monitoring note, it was the concern to start, the evidence in the notes, and the next check, and the stated owner, and the unknowns. And it did do not predict likelihood, do not predict impact, and it did not predict the solution unless the notes stated. So as you can see here, we address every single one of those points: the concern, the evidence in the notes, the next check, the stated owner, and the unknowns. And I read all that. So now we're going to go to the next one. Just draft a handoff checklist from these completed work notes. Include delivered items. It's going to include location, access information if dated. It's going to include the receiving owner. First, next step, and open questions. So again, it's going to include delivered items. It's going to include location, access information if dated. It's going to include receiving owner, and it's going to include the first next step, and it's going to include the open questions. Excuse me. Now, do not claim access was tested unless the notes say so. So now we're going to scroll down. Whoops. So this thing is just scrolling too fast. Let's get back to this one. So right here we got the first one after the prompt I just read is, so the first thing we had was delivered items. For delivered items, we have the checkbox for LinkedIn audit findings, checkbox for 5 priority recommendations, checkbox for PDF containing the audit findings and recommendation, checkbox for 45-minute walkthrough discussion. The location access information, there's a checkbox for a PDF location or access method. We fill that in. There's a checkbox for access has been tested. Fill in. The receiving owner. Okay, so the receiving owner, we have a checkbox for receiving owner. First next step is there's a checkbox for confirm the receipt of the PDF and discuss the findings through the walkthrough. Discuss the findings during the walkthrough. The next thing is open questions. And there's a checkbox for confirm the PDF location or access method. There's a checkbox for confirm the receiving owner. And there's a checkbox for confirm whether the walkthrough duration is 30 or 45 minutes. Excuse me. Sorry, I was around a ton of dust earlier. Oh my goodness. So, and now again, what this did was, this is a drafted handoff checklist from these completed work notes, and it included a delivered items. Excuse me. Let me actually just scroll through and show you what it delivered again, and read it off. Whoops. So it included delivered items. It included location and access information. It included a receiving owner. It included the first next step, and it included the open questions. And what were those regarding? Those were including, so that was basically the handoff checklist from the completed work notes, and it addressed all those things, and it did not claim access was tested unless the notes say so. So that addressed all that. Now, again, what does all this do here? The whole point of all this was building a project decision trail people can trust. Because guess what? Now they have so much information regarding everything about the project that it makes sense to them if they're a part of this project. So now it's easy for things to get handed off to the next person so that they can do what they got to do. And then all the guesswork is taken out. There's no he said, she said, there's no confusion. And if there's confusion, the person they know who to talk to because they can literally see how everything was handled. And there is probably a decided owner for that decision, so they can address that with them. So it just you have, like, if you're given notes, instead of you wondering about everything, you have a full map of everything that's gone on, and you know who to talk to about regarding anything, right? So that there's no confusion, and then this project just gets completed easily by the entire team. Now, as I usually say, Promptify is free to start. Link is in the bio. You can start for free, blah, blah, blah. Also, if there's anything I said in this video that was helpful towards you, that is amazing, and I hope you have a great day.